Welcome to the show. I am your host, Suzanne Monk, host of the one and only all live Periscope cast, Trump Talk, where we talk about Trump. We're the only people who do this, and well, I'm sure other people do it, but we don't do it. They don't do it the way we do it. And so we wanted to, I had talked about last night, we wanted to get a chance to talk about Mike Pence, and I just didn't get to do as much research as I wanted to, but I've taken a few moments to pull up some information. And so I want to talk about Donald Trump's VP pick. As we all know, Trump announced today his VP pick will be Mike Pence, governor of Indiana. So, let's talk about it. Who is Mike Pence? Why is that a good pick for Trump? And go forward from there. Now, Mike Pence is governor of Indiana. He's been governor of Indiana since 2013. He's done some really interesting things in Indiana as far as taxes are concerned. He has certainly been an advocate for the taxpayer. For example, there was a tax program in Indiana. We found out that the taxpayers had been charged taxes beyond what the original tax agreement was. And the legislature in Indiana tried to pass a law that says that the state could just keep all those taxes. Mike Pence vetoed that bill, causing some, political issues for himself. But he felt that Pence, we'll talk about that in a second. He felt that Pence, or Pence felt that the taxes, if taxpayers inappropriately pay the tax, that tax should be returned to the taxpayers. So he's certainly a tax advocate, a small government advocate. He's been on the Tea Party caucus. He was in Congress for 6 terms from 2001 until 2013 and served in his district in Indiana and was certainly an advocate for a lot of the things that the Tea Party and the smaller government people in Washington also advocate. Now, you brought up a good point because he's a conservative. So he's certainly been on the side of conservative policies when it comes to the LGBT community. When it comes to homosexual marriage, he's been opposed to that, but has not did not follow up on that opposing in the state of Indiana. So while he did work to make a religious freedom law so that individuals who, say, for example, own a bakery, didn't want to participate in making a cake for a gay wedding, would not be forced to. And his state got some blowback for that. I actually agree with that. I believe that you certainly can't force individuals to serve customers, certainly not at that level. But he will get some blowback for that, but he's also gotten some blowback on his thoughts on gay marriage and some statements he made probably earlier in his career that they'll come back to haunt him. But this is what I want to say about the ground that Trump has gained in the LGBT community and in independence. I think Trump will maintain that ground because Mike Pence does something. He shores up the conservative Republican base that Trump was struggling a little bit with since Ted Cruz certainly dragged out the race. So as an original supporter of Ted Cruz, Mike Pence, if you recall, when he endorsed Ted Cruz, he actually had very positive things to say about Trump in that endorsement. So he's been very positive the whole time, but in fact was a Cruz supporter from the beginning. And I think that is certainly one way in which he can help bring together the Republican Party, shore that up so that Trump can continue to reach out to the independents, to the Democrats, to those who might cross over, which is, I think, going to be where the election is won, but you certainly got to make sure you get that base out. And I think Pence does some wonderful things for that. He's married, has been married since 1985, has 3 beautiful children. So those are all some very, he's been on the International Relations Committee, the Foreign Affairs Committee, the Judiciary Committee. He has introduced 90 bills, and unfortunately, none of them have become law. So, and that's an interesting point. But Caleb, let me just speak to that for a minute. Caleb's mentioning that the Republican Party only makes up 35 to 40% of the electorate. The Democratic Party only makes up about 30 to 45% of the 40% of the electorate. The majority, in fact, probably smaller, because the largest number of people are independents. That is the largest voting bloc as registered independents, I'm sorry, Caleb, you might want to check those. The independents are the largest group. So you might want to check those statistics. I've done some research on this. In the last election cycles, the last few election cycles, independents have become the largest voting bloc. And that is the section that this election is going to be decided on. Who can you pull from the middle? And at this point, Trump is leading with that group. So it should be interesting to see how that moves forward. I think that Mike Pence is going to do an interesting job keeping the base solid while Trump continues to expand his lead with independents, expand his growing demographic groups such as white women, younger people, younger voters. He's doing very well with Latinos, almost to Reagan levels, much better than McCain or Romney did. So I think that this, many people were talking about they wanted somebody more, modern, somebody maybe more, I wouldn't say progressive, but I would say more moderate in their positions. I think Pence balances that a little bit. But as a Tea Party guy, he has had a lot of non-traditional GOP, a lot of the GOP is dyed-in-the-wool, old-style Republican, and certainly not as interested in Tea Party issues or many of the libertarian values. So I would say it depends, and Caleb mentions that Mike doesn't do much for independents. One, I think Trump does really well already in that group. But there are more than one kind of independent. And there's certainly a large group of people who are Tea Party independents, who are conservative independents, who have left the Republican Party for quite some time now because of their complete just disgust with what the Republicans have done. And Mike Pence has been part of that coalition in Congress, at least as much as Michelle Bachmann, and she claims to be the queen of the Tea Party. So I think Pence will pull in the conservative independents and allow Trump to go ahead and reach over across the aisle to try to get Bernie supporters, Democrats. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes from there. A lot of people were very excited about Newt. I know some people really thought Newt was going to be the guy. Let me just explain something about the VP. What has Joe Biden done? Oh, I was waiting for anybody to answer. Nothing. He hasn't done anything. He's barely there. He helps win an election. That's what Joe Biden was for. It is also what Mike Pence is going to be for. There aren't necessarily a lot of great roles for him to play afterwards as the vice president. I'm sure he can do a lot of, helping out in Congress, but he can and will, I think, do a great job making an excellent case against Hillary Clinton, particularly to the Republican base, and certainly will do some great job in that sort of doing, because he has a calmer demeanor than, say, Newt, or Newt's very fiery, but Newt has some other negatives that are very, very pressing, unfortunately. There's a lot of negatives from when Newt was in office, and he has been out of government longer, whereas Mike has been in government for the last, 10, 15, 16 years. So it's certainly, it's an interesting choice. Now, mark my words, watch for this. I believe Newt is going to be given a position as chief of staff or some other role that can operate outside of the media attention, because the vice president is going to get a lot of media attention. And I think that Newt Gingrich is going to do a lot better in a Trump administration without necessarily all of that constant media attention. So look for Newt to be chief of staff or something else equally important. The same thing with Michael Flynn, General Michael Flynn. Look for him to have a role in the cabinet position. So don't worry about Mike Pence as far as what he's going to do prior to getting elected. Let's worry about Mike Pence, what he's going to do up until then. So, give me a second. I'm sorry I had to interrupt you guys. The cat was just freaking out, and he would not stop meowing, and I don't want to listen to the cat meow the whole time as if he were some sort of Bernie supporter that was just getting absolutely ridiculous. So I made sure the door was open. Hopefully he'll be able to wander around without, maybe he doesn't like Mike Pence. But that's fine. That's fine. Not everybody is going to like this choice. This is the point I wanted to make. If you're a conservative, if you're a Tea Party person, there's probably a lot of things you're going to like about Mike Pence. If you're a moderate, if you're an independent, there's some things you're going to have a difficulty with. And there's some things the Democrats are going to ream him about. They're going to try to say he thinks homosexuality can be cured. They're going to bring it all up. That's fine. That's fine. I'm glad it wasn't Chris Christie, too, because I think that Chris Christie has even more problems within his state. Mike Pence has done some wonderful things in Indiana. He's brought the tax rate down. He's brought a lot of business back. He's an evangelical and was raised, interestingly, this is an interesting fact about Mike Pence. His parents, he was raised as a Democrat, Catholic Democrat, as a child. And as he got older, converted to evangelicalism and conservatism. So, interesting facts about Mike Pence. Now, Chris Christie, what I will say, Chris Christie, I think he's been behind Trump since he stepped out of the race, so I respect that greatly. But I think that the Bridgegate issue has some real lasting problems, as well as Chris Christie just hasn't done that great in New Jersey. New Jersey has not had the kind of success that Indiana has had, or the kind of changes that I think under Chris Christie the changes Mike Pence made and the work Mike Pence did in Indiana certainly looks a lot better than the work Chris Christie did in New Jersey. And Chris Christie, while I think he is a great attack dog, he's certainly good at getting out there and sticking it to the other guy. I just don't think he is the kind of person you need to be on the ticket. Now, let's just talk about this for a minute. Everyone's already going to be freaking out about the logo. I'll post it on the Trump Talk US page. It has a T. Okay, it has like a letter T. And then the P kind of is coming around the T like this. So everyone says that it looks like the T is having sex with the P. They're going to say that for a few days. It'll all stop. They have nothing else to talk about. They're desperate to not talk about Hillary's poll numbers. This VP decision is going to move those poll numbers up. The recent terrorist attacks are going to move Trump's poll numbers up. And with somebody like Mike Pence, who's strong on defense, strong on security, he's been very strong on immigration, and has certainly, he has at some point issued a plan that, as far as illegal immigration is concerned, to one thing that everybody always says, why don't we make it more difficult to hire? Why aren't we punishing people who are hiring illegals? Well, Mike Pence put that in his legislation. Unfortunately, Congress doesn't want to pass that kind of legislation. But in fact, that is something that Mike Pence considers as part of immigration reform. And he's certainly been a big advocate of closed borders, of a secure border, and of guest worker programs that are carefully supported, carefully monitored by the government. Now, an interesting point, you mentioned the pro-life group. I think that's very true because one, Mike Pence is as an evangelical, very pro-life, and Trump has been moderately pro-life, but certainly much more of a moderate. Very similar to the gay rights issues and to gay marriage. Now, there was a great interview that Donald Trump did with Bret Baier where they talked about the Republican platform and what things have been added to the Republican platform that were very specifically for Trump, very specifically Trump issues, and the things that Trump disagreed with. And many of the disagreements are social issues. And Trump, to his credit, did not cave, did not say, well, I'm going to agree with whatever the Republicans say. No, this is what he said. We don't agree with everything in the platform. That's okay. A lot of it, there's a lot of agreement. And I think in that moment, Trump did more to shore up the independent and moderate base of voters by suggesting that it's okay for a Republican candidate to not be completely in the tank with the Republicans. And that's, let's do that. Let's do my Trump reason of the day. I love to do Trump reason of the day. Trump is a nationalist and not a Republican. And the restoration, unfortunately, Republicans aren't even very good Republicans anymore, which has been the main problem. And even Republicans like Mike Pence, the Tea Party came about because Republicans were bad Republicans. They didn't do their job. They became big spending, social conservative progressives is what they did. They became fiscal progressives, but social conservatives. And that wasted a ton of money. And it allowed the Democrats to get way more things passed than we should have, including this omnibus budget, which was absolutely ridiculous. That's what formed the Tea Party. So the Republican platform is not anything to be super proud of. These guys have not been coming up with a good platform for a long time. And that Trump recognizes that the electorate is different than the Republican Party. The electorate is looking for someone who supports jobs for everyone, who supports fairness for everyone, who supports our law enforcement, but supports law enforcement being enforced equally for everyone. They want the rule of law. And frankly, that's what Republicans used to be about, but not these new Republicans. That is the kind of Republican Trump is. So my Trump reason of the day is I think that Donald Trump will do more to restore the Republican Party to its former position than probably any Republican we have seen in my lifetime. And I'm actually here in Chicago, Caleb. That's where I'm broadcasting from, originally from the Southwest, if that helps you. So let's talk about rallies coming up. There will be an announcement. Trump will introduce Mike Pence as his VP, 11 a.m. New York tomorrow. As you know, he postponed today's press conference because of the tragic and horrific terror attack in Nice. And I think that was very appropriate. I know that Mike Pence is very strong on security. It's going and a huge, this is another thing I didn't mention, a huge advocate of Israel. Mike Pence is very strong as an ally of Israel. And in that, both he and Trump are very similar. So that's going to be good. There will also be a rally, I'm assuming with Mike, in Zionville, Indiana at 5 p.m. on Saturday. So tomorrow, 11 a.m., also tomorrow, 5 p.m., they got two rallies going on. You can catch those on rsbn.tv. They live stream everything. They also put everything up that hasn't, if you haven't seen it or you missed it, they'll certainly have everything there. So that's a great place to catch up on that. Let's do, I did this little thing. Trump Hotties. And I know, Dan, Trump is going to be doing a lot of fundraising and a lot of rallies. As we go into the convention's going to happen. There's not going to be a lot of rallies before then because there's going to be a few, but they're moving into the convention. Once the convention is over, it's going to be Rally Central, you guys. It is going to be Rally Central because, as we know, Trump has been doing great in the polls, but spending very, very little. In Pennsylvania, Hillary Clinton has spent $41 million. Trump spent $4 million. They're tied. So watch for Trump to really be laying it thick down on the rallies because that's where he gets a lot of support and certainly a lot of media attention, a lot of that earned media they talk about. We're going to see a lot of rallies. So we will keep you informed on the schedule. Robin, I did mention that earlier in the story about how Pence has had some comments that they're going to bring back about the LGBT community, and he has not supported, much like many conservatives, he's not supported gay marriage. He has not been as supportive as some have. But a huge portion of the Republican Party also is not supportive of those things. So bringing Pence on certainly helps to reassure them because Trump has been very particularly pro-LGBT, and in the Brett Baer interview addresses that directly, that he has been much more supportive, particularly after Orlando. He was with open arms, much more supportive, and it's something that I think will ultimately bend the Republican Party back to, glad to do it, Cabo, back to the party of the people. There's a lot, the log cabin Republicans, it's your day, you guys. This is your day. If you are a log cabin Republican and you're not voting for Donald Trump, what are you doing? Get on board with us. Seriously. Let's do one of my favorite bits. I love to do Trump Hotties of the day. Some of my lefty friends get a little upset because, Suzanne, why are you posting pretty women for Trump? Isn't that exploiting women? I don't care. Maybe. Maybe, but they're beautiful women and they love Trump. Who doesn't love Trump? Who doesn't love beautiful women? If you don't love Trump, maybe you just love beautiful women. It doesn't matter. I'm going to keep showing you Trump hotties of the day. Here's our Trump hottie for today. I picked this because I just love this shirt. I actually want to find out where she got this shirt because this would look great on me. Here. So pretty. And look at this shirt, you guys. Oh my gosh, that is so my color. I need to figure out where this girl got this beautiful pink Make America Great shirt with Trump's face on it. So if you see that shirt, send me a link, you guys. I want to get that. That is totally my style. And that's our Trump hottie of the day. You guys can, of course, as always, reach me. I'm at the Trumpetarian at Twitter. You can email the show, trumptalkus@gmail.com. You can find all of our past videos, www.trumptalk.us. This is episode 56, but we actually have like 77 broadcasts because there are about 26 special editions and Q&A sessions. So all of that having great information. And let's do, just before we go, I'd like to do how Trump beats Hillary Rodham Clinton. In light of this Pence nomination, I think how Trump is really going to beat Hillary Clinton is by building a coalition of the electorate that has never been seen before in this country. A coalition of independents, Republicans, disenfranchised Democrats, and at this point, some Bernie supporters who are certainly as far left as they could possibly go, but they agree with Trump on things like trade, on tax reform, on campaign finance reform, on many of the issues that Trump supports. So a coalition is how Trump is going. A little bit of everybody. Not just dependent on the Republican base, as Romney was and McCain was, and that's why they lost, but building a larger coalition, expanding that Republican tent. That's how I think Trump's going to do it, you guys, and he's doing it every single day. So that's our show for today. Share it with your friends because let's keep sharing the word about Donald Trump. Keep everybody informed. We need to keep moving forward. If you can, donate some money to Donald Trump. He's certainly raising a lot of money. He's got to spend a little bit of money on Hillary Clinton and some counter ads at some point. So let's not leave him hanging. Bernie Sanders can raise $27 a person. Trump can do that in spades. So if you have a chance, but donate to DonaldJTrump.com. Don't donate to the RNC because they don't control the money. So I would love to be able to go to the convention, 18th to the 21st. Unfortunately, I will have to be getting my reports from people who I know are there because in addition to your humble Trump reporter, I own a small business that cannot lose me for those days, unfortunately. Which is why I need to elect Trump, because I certainly need to have a country that can support a small business owner like myself. So, but if you guys are there, send me pictures. I'm so jealous of everyone who gets to go. And that's our show for tonight, folks. I wanted to get a chance to talk a little bit of Mike Pence and get you guys informed. Me and little Trumpy will be back tomorrow with some more Trump news and talk about these rallies and these meetings. You guys have a great night. Until then, keep on trumping. Keep making America great. That's me. Good night. Good night.